Hello, book besties. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Delaney. If you are new here, I cannot believe we are already in June and we're already at the point in the year where we can be doing the mid-year book tag, but I'm also very excited because I love the midpoint check-in, reflecting on all the reads, reflecting on the year, and I feel like this tag is a really great well-rounded way to kind of wrap up the first 6 months of the year and kind of give some insight into where we're at. So we're going to dive right in to the mid-year book tag. I am looking at Sarah Caroli's video from last year to get the question. So that's kind of where I first saw the tag. So I want to give credit to her. You all know her, the book queen. But we have a few questions here that I have screenshotted on my phone, and we're going to go through, answer the questions, and just kind of give a little summary of 2024 so far. I never really know what to do with the intros. I feel like I never know if I'm talking too much, talking not enough, but I think we just jump into the questions. So let's just dive right in. Let's start out with question 1, which is the best book that you have read so far in 2023. If you watched my vlog with this, you will not be surprised to hear me say The Nightingale. I put this book off for probably close to 2 years. It sat on my shelf because I was so intimidated by 1, the length of it, and 2, the fact that it was historical fiction. I've never been a history person. History was one of my hardest classes in high school. It just never would click in my brain. And then couple that with the fact that this book is almost 600 pages. I was like, 600 pages of history, I can't do it. It's almost like I was expecting the book to feel textbooky, history textbook. Not at all. Everyone on TikTok that kept telling me you have to pick up The Nightingale, please trust me, just do it. Thank you so much, because I wouldn't have done it without the encouragement and the constant pestering for picking up The Nightingale. I am so glad that you didn't let me forget about this book and you didn't let me get away with not reading this book, because it is now not only my favorite book of the year, but maybe my favorite book of all time. I have never been so impacted by a book. Up at 3 a.m., sobbing my eyes out. I still, sometimes in the middle of my day, will think about this book, and I could cry if I sit and think about it for long enough. The book is emotional, coupled with the fact that it's based on true events, and this happened in World War II. This is just phenomenal. Kristen Hanna, I have no words. She knocked it out of the park, and now I'm so excited to continue reading more Kristen Hanna books. My hair's a little bit crazy today, but we're gonna rock it. We're rocking natural hair this summer, so I'm trying to use less heat. So if you are feeling what the heck is going on with your lion's mane, that is what it is. The second question is the best sequel that you've read so far in 2023. And I've actually read quite a few. I think sequel just means anything continuing a series. Is that correct? I've actually read quite a few good series. I've really been knocking off series this year, which is good. So this was hard for me to pick, but I'm going to have to go with Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. I love this book so much. And if you follow me, you know that Yours Truly is one of my favorite romances of all time. And coming off of Yours Truly, I was I don't know how this can live up. I really love Jacob in Yours Truly. This book is Justin, our male main character, is the epitome of if he wanted to, he would. I just adored this. It was so fun, so flirty. I was lucky enough to get an early release ARC copy of this. So I actually read this in February, I believe. I vlogged it if you want to watch it. But now that it's actually summertime, I kind of want to reread it already. And that says something, because I'm not a big rereader. But seeing it come out and seeing the hype around it when people were getting it and it was released, it made me want to revisit it and relive it as well. So this is a potential reread for the second half of the year because I loved it that much. Also, I've been trying so hard. I used to say Jimenez. Then people said I was saying it wrong and it's Jimenez. So I've been Googling interviews with her, trying to figure out how to pronounce her last name because I feel bad if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Is it Jimenez? Jimenez, is that right? I think that's how she pronounced it in an interview with her. So obviously she knows how to pronounce her own last name. So I hope that's right. I really hope that's right. I don't know. People get really angry with me and I'm trying my best. I'm sorry. I think it's Jimenez. Next is a new release you haven't read yet, but you want to. And this is a book that actually was not on my radar at all. And then it got sent to me from the publishing company. And now it's one of my most anticipated reads for the summer. That is The Summer Pact by Emily Giffin. She is the author of Something Borrowed, Something Blue. I'm really excited for this one. I think it's a women's fiction / general fiction book that talks a lot about friendship, and grief is also a big element. And if you follow me, you know I lost someone very, very close to me at the very end of February, and the grieving journey has been so complex and complicated, and it just comes in the biggest waves sometimes. And I feel like I've been in kind of one of the waves recently. Like, it's really been hitting me hard kind of the last couple weeks. So this book has been extra on my radar. It showed up on my doorstep last week, and I was like, this timing couldn't be more perfect. Sometimes reading about something hard that you're going through just is therapeutic in a way. I don't know. I'm very, very excited for this book. I haven't read any of her books, but she is a New York Times bestselling author, so I have high hopes, and I'm really excited for this. Then we have the most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and this is so hard for me to pick because there's two. There's two that I'm super excited for. The first is Reckless by Lauren Roberts. I've already ordered from the UK, so I get the paperback version to match my Powerless. I am not a fantasy reader. If you follow me, you know I've been trying so hard to get into fantasy, and I've been struggling. I read Shatter Me, and I love Shatter Me. I've read Fourth Wing. I didn't like Fourth Wing. I'm really, really trying to become a fantasy reader, and I think Powerless might be what converted me. Loved Powerless, loved Powerful, the novella, and I can't wait for Reckless. I think this comes out July 2nd. I'm so excited. But we also have the fourth book in my beloved Windy City series. So we have Play Along coming out July 9th, 11th, something like that. I'm super excited for this. I love the Windy City series with my entire heart. It's one of my favorite romance series of all time, and I can't wait to see where this next book goes. I can't even remember who it's about, but it's about a character that I already know and love. I know I was excited for it. Plus the cover is absolutely stunning. I've already pre-ordered this from the UK as well. Next up, I have the biggest surprise, and that question feels kind of vague to me, but there's a book that just kind of popped into my head, and so I'm just rolling with it. I'm gonna say My Dark Vanessa, because this book surprised me in the way and how impactful it was. Like, obviously going into this book, I knew it was going to be dark and I knew it was going to be heavy. Like, just look at the cover. You know you're in for it with this book. But I did not expect to be so connected to Vanessa. Like, there's times where I'm like doing my hair or getting ready in the morning and I'm thinking about Vanessa, and I catch myself and I'm like, girl, you are still thinking about that book. Like, that was a impactful read. And I had procrastinated reading this for a really long time. I think it's the very first book I downloaded when I first got Kindle Unlimited, not this past December, but the one before. So it's been sitting on my Kindle for so long, and one of you guys ordered me the physical copy off my Amazon wish list, and thank you so much, because little did you know that you were giving me that little nudge that I needed to finally pick up this book. And hallelujah, thank goodness you did, because I ended up loving this. Sounds so weird to say that I love this book. I loved this book. I hated the pain, but I love this book because it's so emotional. It's a very heavy book. So if you're not in the mindset for a heavy read, don't read it. And please check trigger warnings no matter what. Check trigger warnings before you read this book because it is heavy. The next question is a favorite new author. So this can be a debut author or an author that's just new to me. And first, we already know I talked about my Windy City series. So Liz Tomford is brand new to me. I hadn't read any of her books prior to this. I picked up Mile High in January, and then I flew through the Windy City series, and I'm obsessed with it. So she is definitely one that came to mind, but I also haven't read anything outside of this series, so I'm not sure. Very similarly, I have the Magnolia Park series by Jessa Hastings. I have Into the Dark here because this is my favorite in the series. This is one of my favorite books of the year. Like, it is up there with The Nightingale with being one of my favorite books of the year, which is a huge statement. But again, Jessa Hastings, brand new author to me, but all I've read is the Magnolia Park series, so I definitely love that series, but I can't necessarily say I love all of Jessa Hastings' books because I've only read that one series, you know what I mean? I also was tempted to say Kristen Hanna because I've already ranted about my love for The Nightingale, but again, the only book I've read so far, The Great Alone, is next on my TBR from her. I also want to read Firefly Lane, True Colors, Winter Garden. Like, I have a lot of books from her on my TBR, but she's a brand new author to me that I have come to love and adore, and I loved her writing style, so she's also one that came to mind. It's so hard to pick. The next question is your newest fictional crush, and I'm so sorry, but I have to pick two because there is no way I couldn't mention Evan Zanders from Mile High. He's a professional hockey player, and he has like this bad boy, gruff exterior that he presents to the public and to the media, but he's a big softie and he's so sweet, and the way that he cared for Stevie and gave her validation and supported her with her struggle with body image, like, he melted my heart. I just loved him. I loved him so much. I am obsessed with Evan Zanders, so definitely like one of my new top book boyfriends. But honorable mention for BJ Valentine. I also loved him and I just was obsessed. Like he was so toxic, but by the last book, like the BJ in Into the Dark, chef's kiss. I love him. I would marry him tomorrow. I adore him. I adore him so much. I also love Julian, but for a totally different reason. Like I would take either of them. If you know, you know. I just love Julian as well. And I have to mention Daddy Cade from Heartless. I will say Willa, our female main character, was my favorite part of this book. Like I just loved her. She was hilarious. She was funny and just so true to her. She was just so authentic and so relatable. But Daddy Cade, I do love you. You are my new fictional book boyfriend. My most recent fictional book boyfriend is definitely Cade. I adored him. He's my favorite so far from the Chestnut Spring series. He is one of the only times that I have liked the grumpy and a grumpy sunshine trope. Like his grumpy didn't turn me off. Like normally grumpy, I'm like, I don't really like you. Like you're just mean. Cade's grumpy was really endearing. I liked him. Next, we have a book that made you cry, and I don't feel like there's words necessary. Sobbed my eyes out until 3 a.m. Sobbed my eyes out again because this deals with grief, and I read this book at the most beautiful time. Tears. If you want tears, here you go. Tears will be shed. Enjoy. Enough said. On the other hand, a book that made you happy, better than the movies. This was so flirty and so much fun. I normally don't like YA romance books, but everyone was like, please just give it a shot. Like it's a really sweet story no matter what age you are. And you were so right. I love this. I've read The Love Wager by Lynn Painter, and that's the only other book I've read by her. But after reading this, I think I'm a Lynn Painter fan. So thoroughly enjoy this book. Even if you're not a YA reader, I think you could enjoy this book. It's just so fast. I read this pretty much in one sitting. Like I read almost all of this book in one sitting, and then I fell asleep in the last 20 pages. But I am obsessed with this book. It is so fast and so easy and so much fun. If you're a rom-com movie lover, you will also love this because every chapter starts out with a quote from a popular rom-com, which was such a fun ad. I just love that Lynn Painter did that. This was so cute. I can't say enough great things. It just is it's a feel-good book. I loved it. Then we have the most beautiful book you've bought so far this year or received. And I obviously want to say like my special edition of the 7-Year Slip. Let me show you guys this. This special edition cover of the 7-Year Slip was made for me by someone on TikTok. I will try to remember to link them down below, but like the inside is all lemons. There's a bookmark. That's the original cover. The front is absolutely stunning, like absolutely beautiful. The side is absolutely beautiful. And the back, you guys, the person that made me this book asked me for my favorite quote from the book. Can we just take a moment? Like this is absolutely stunning. So yes, this is easily like, this is my pride and joy. This is the most beautiful book on my bookshelf. But aside from that, I think I would honestly have to say Powerless. I don't know why this cover is so appealing to me. I'm just obsessed with this cover. Honestly, all the Windy City books too, now that I'm thinking about it. Powerless, I don't know. I think it's just the black cover with the pretty like purple detailing, and it kind of has like the shiny elements too. It just feels like the cover just gives off the vibes of what is inside the book. And I also love the art on the like beginning pages of the chapters. Like I thought that was really cool because from the side it makes the book look cool. Like it has that weird shading. I think this book is gorgeous inside and out. Obviously I love this book. Then we have the last question, which is what books do you need to read by the end of the year? And oh boy, is there a lot of books that I need to read by the end of the year. I definitely want to read A Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston. That's her new release that hasn't come out yet. Definitely will be reading The Housemaid is Watching because that is my Patreon's book club pick for the month of July. If you're not in my Patreon, you should join because we're reading The Third Housemaid. You have time to get caught up. We announced it for July already, so if you want to join us in reading that, you should definitely join. The Next Mrs. Parrish is another new release I'm really excited for. I really want to read All the Light We Cannot See. This is another book, I think, about World War II, and I've heard a lot of mixed reviews. I heard great things, and then I picked this up and I posted about it, and so many people were like, that book was so slow, I had to DNF, so I'm very intrigued what I will think, but definitely excited for this one. Another World War II book, I'm telling you, I was really obsessed after The Nightingale. We Were the Lucky Ones. I'm excited for this because I was going to start the TV show, and then my sister sent me this book and said someone had recommended it if you like The Nightingale. So I picked up the book, which I'm excited to read this and then watch the TV show, so that'll be fun. The Vanishing Half, I'm super excited for this one as well. Destiny Sidwell talked about this book, and I was like, yes, bestie, I will pick up anything you talk about. So this one also feels really, really good. I'm excited for this. What else? Oh, I definitely am gonna finish the Chestnut Spring series. I only have the last book and a half left. I'm in the middle of Reckless, and then I have Hopeless. Is Hopeless the last one? Yeah, so I'm finishing Reckless. I'm in the middle of it right now, and then I have Hopeless, so I'll finish that series. Oh, I know what I can talk about. I just picked up, they're over there, so I'm not gonna get them, but I picked up the Boys of Tommen series, so that's another potential. I've heard great things, but the books are so long. I'm so intimidated. I went to get the audiobook from my library, and it literally is split into 2 parts, and both parts are like 16 hours long. So that's like 32 hours for one book. It's a good thing I listened to my audiobooks at like 4 times speed, because I'm kidding, it's like 2.25 speed, but holy cow, those books are long and so intimidating. But I've heard great things, so I'm gonna trust you because you didn't steer me wrong with the Nightingale, so I'm gonna trust your word and go for it. Okay, moral of the story is I have a lot of books to get to for the rest of the year. So that is kind of the ones that are at top of mind, the ones that are coming to my mind right now. But I know there's so many more. Follow my Goodreads. I will add them to my want to read list. Follow my TikTok because I'll be talking about them all dang year long. My Instagram, I'll be talking over there too. All I do is talk about books. So if you want to follow along as I'm reading throughout the year, you can really follow me anywhere, and I'm surely going to be talking about it. All right, but I think that is all I have for this mid-year book tag. That's really fun. I love doing like that mid-year check-in. I cannot believe it is already June. That is absolutely crazy to me, but that tag was fun. I'm really glad we did it. And I want to know, leave a comment down below telling me the best book that you have read so far in 2024. But that is all I have for you today. Make sure you are following me on all the things. I will leave them all down below as always. Join the Patreon if you want to join the book club, and make sure you're subscribed here so you don't miss any future videos. I will catch you in the next one. Bye, book besties.